Good evening. Our presentation is a concise yet comprehensive overview of the Oyster Adams Bilingual School, a national model for the dual language education program. This presentation was a collaborative effort by Adriana Avila, Cesar Lidano, Yahaira Perez, and Nelly Marquez. Here are several pictures of the Oyster Adams Bilingual School. From the outside looking in, there isn't much of a difference from what you would see at any other school. Yet, once inside, you will soon learn that there are many puzzle pieces that make this a very sought-out school and definitely successful. Some general school information. The Oyster Adams Bilingual School was actually established in 1971. It has long been a model of a dual language education for over 40 years. The school itself has two campuses, both of which implement full immersion programs in teaching both languages. And in some cases, some of the students are even able to learn a third language, Mandarin being that third language. In 2018-2019, the enrolled number of students was 706 students. Oyster Adams is currently servicing or provides services for students in pre-K 4 through 8th grade. When did the program begin? The Oyster Adams Bilingual School was first introduced by Pike in 1954. However, it has been in operation since 1971. The primary goal of the ethnographic study was developing an insider's understanding on how the Oyster Bilingual program was implemented so that its bilingual minority students were achieving. The study of Oyster Adams' two bilingual education language plan in classroom level implementation is oriented to understand how it enabled its limited English proficient students and language minority students to participate and achieve. The teaming of English dominant and Spanish dominant teachers provides language models for students in both their first and second languages, with the end result where students are able to develop their learned skills of biliteracy and biculturalism in all subject areas. You may be wondering, what is the language distribution model used at Oyster Adams? The Oyster Adams Bilingual School follows the 50-50 instructional model by equally dividing instruction in both minority and majority languages. As a result of the equal status of both languages, the program's expectations are bilingualism and biliteracy acquisition for all students. Each classroom is staffed by two teachers, a native English speaker and a native Spanish speaker. All teachers are bilingual with formal language training and bilingual teacher certifications. Students are then immersed in both languages. Half of the instructional time each week is in Spanish and half in English. All of the content is taught and learned in both languages, although teachers have the ability to tailor their lesson plans and schedule to match their respective language subject expertise. For example, teachers can decide to instruct science only in English and social studies only in Spanish, and supplement by teaching content vocabulary for the other language at a different time. Ultimately, it is up to the teaching teams to modify their schedule as long as they follow the established framework of teaching all content in both languages in the space of a week. The school offers English as a second language or Spanish as a second language for students who arrive at the Oyster Adams School after the second grade. These instructions will continue until students develop a level of proficiency that enables them to function at a grade level in the school's bilingual setting. Oyster discourages the admission of new students after third grade due to the perceived difficulties to properly gain academic proficiency in both languages in a timely manner. Oyster Adams utilizes the whole language approach, which is based on the idea that reading and writing are best learned in the natural setting and through the use of social interactions that demonstrates a correlation between the material being introduced and the student's real-world experiences. So what is the Oyster Adams biliteracy model? At Oyster Adams School, their students become biliterate in both languages because their policy emphasizes an equal distribution of both languages, Spanish and English. The amount they spend on each language and the language in which content area will be taught is essential when planning for biliteracy. The teaming of two-teacher model, where they have two teachers, one Spanish and one English dominant, develop biliteracy in their students. The Oyster Adams philosophy promotes integration between minority and majority languages, and their school empowers their students to use their bilingualism and to take pride in themselves, their culture, and to be open in diversity in order to change the inequalities of our world. Their policy, curriculum, and classroom activities are always created to maximize cultural balance. Oyster Adams students have the opportunity for both domestic and international programming, including homestays, international exchanges, trips to China, Spain, and Costa Rica while in their middle school years. Oyster Adams is currently the district's highest performing bilingual school. That is according to the DC Office of the State Superintendent of Education's data based on PARCC results. These test scores also put the school at the top of the school system's K-8 campuses. The school principal, Mayra Cruz, is proud to say that their teachers represent the best talent in the world. She states that the majority of their staff are of color and that a quarter of the faculty are immigrants and first-generation Americans. Their current principal, who has served as principal in Oyster Adams since July of 2014, is a former English language learner, a daughter of immigrants, and a first-generation college student. She is proud to be in the position where her bicultural identity is honored and definitely respected.